the season has kicked off in an unbelievable fashion as Tottenham are sitting top of the league after one game in the Premier League. 4-1 against Southampton yesterday at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and that was exactly what the doctor ordered on the first game of the season, which was our biggest win on the first game of the season since 1985, since we beat Watford 4-0 at White Hart Lane. But talk to me, Sim, talk to me about that game.
Well, yeah?
Yeah, I remember it so well, 4 years before I was born. But no, I think, tell me what happened on that pitch yesterday, because when the game started, it was, both teams feeling each other out. Southampton get that goal inside the first 10 minutes with James Ward-Prowse's, standard goal against Tottenham every single year. But after that, we just completely took charge, didn't we?
Yeah, we blew them away after what was, I wouldn't say we started poorly. I would say it was just a bit of an even start. Southampton.
So we were feeling each other out really in that first 10 minutes.
I don't think they were better than us, but we weren't better than them for the first for the opening exchanges.
It was the first chance of the game, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't remember too many other shots before that. I don't remember Southampton having many chances before or any shots on goal before their strike. But they got a moment of quality. I think Gineppo obviously takes on Emerson on the byline on the left hand side, and I think if Emerson just stands up there at that moment, he could have blocked the cross. Gineppo does really well to dig out that cross though, and it just flies over Højbjerg's head. Højbjerg maybe guilty of giving Ward-Prowse too much space as well. So I think a couple of moments we can be disappointed with, and then obviously a brilliant strike, which I don't think anyone can say anything about, and we're 1-0 down. And I think as well, after all the optimism going into coming off pre-season, all the signings and all the pre-game predictions saying 3-0, 4-0, and all this kind of stuff, to go 1-0 down, obviously you do start to get that feeling. Oh God, have we overestimated things?
Is it one of these days
again? Exactly. Especially given the fact that we lost to Southampton last season at home as well, and you're thinking, they already have a blueprint of beating us. They're all playing five at the back as well. That was also something to be worried about, because if they're just going to sit back and try and frustrate us with their five at the back, that's something that we've struggled with before, isn't it? So I think going 1-0 down was the worst start possible, and it definitely gave me a bit of anxiety, but I have to say we responded impeccably. We didn't let it affect us. We carried on playing our game. We hit back pretty swiftly. Within 9 minutes, we were back on level terms. And it's not easy to open up a team who are playing with a back five like that, so with so much regularity. And talk about the equaliser. What a cross from Kulusevski. That was... it was right on a plate for Ryan Sessegnon. I mean, if you look at the point of where he crosses the ball, where the run of Sessegnon is like behind Walker-Peters, and he just like puts it on a play right in his trajectory, right onto his head, and from that position to get the cross right to Sessegnon was simply sumptuous. It was an unbelievable assist.
It really was. It was absolutely sensational. It was a bit like out of the Harry Kane playbook, that cross from Kulusevski. And that was the start of an unbelievable day for Kulusevski. It really was. But with Ryan Sessegnon, I was so happy for him to get on the score sheet as well. He said in his post-match interview after the game, was like, yeah, there was one I should have got to a few minutes before that, and if I didn't get to that one, Conte would have gone absolutely crazy at me. So he's playing with a bit of that fear factor as well, and he's rising to the occasion. I mean, since Perisic has come into the team, Sessegnon has spoken very highly about how Perisic has really helped him get to grips with things with Spurs, and it looks like he is learning off him, because for the first time you really saw Sessegnon play with that confidence, beat your man, consistently beat your man, do something where we've been calling on him to do for the majority of last season. And I thought he was absolutely brilliant yesterday, Ryan Sessegnon. And, he got taken off after an hour, and that's all he needed to do in that hour mark. I mean, I thought he was brilliant. The two wing backs were absolutely brilliant, but I thought Sessegnon was specifically really, really good. I mean, defensively, he was on point. Going forward, he was much better, and didn't give that Southampton right back a moment's rest, really.
Walker-Peters.
Walker-Peters.
I mean, actually, I actually thought Walker Peters was one of Southampton's better players as well on the day, and I still thought Sessegnon was giving him no end of trouble. There was one point in the first half, I think, just before he scored, he floated a first-time cross right to the back post. It was going to be right on Emerson's head before a slight touch from Salisu got it away, and I think that set the tone for his performance. I agree. That's his first Premier League goal as well for Tottenham, which is a long time coming, but finally he's got it off. He's got one on the board. And yeah, look, he got the equaliser for us. It was a proper staple Antonio Conte goal. But look, that doesn't happen. First of all, yeah, he has to make that run at the back post, which the wing-backs have to keep doing throughout the season. But if it wasn't for Kulusevski, that goal doesn't happen. And then we go on from strength to strength. We obviously get the second not long after. And a really great crossing as well from a Humansson, a nice flat cross from the left-hand side, and a good flick header from Eric Dyer. And it's 2-1 Spurs. And all of a sudden, within 20 minutes or 15 minutes of the goal, we've turned it around. Absolutely. And that was so important because you don't want them to get settled in with a lead, giving something to hold on to, and let them settle into the game and let them get into position where they can frustrate us. So to get 2-1 up straight away was vitally important in this game, and it was a nice header from Dyer as well. We need to see more than that. First goal in 3 years.
Wow, 3 years is it?
In a first goal in the Premier League for 3 years.
Wow.
So that has to change. I think Dyer, we've said it before, I think he's got really good technique, especially with the shooting. I know it was a header yesterday, but he's got good technique on the ball and his shooting ability for a centre-back. And obviously he's got decent aerial ability as well. So honestly, I want to see him get on the score sheet at least 4 or 5 times this season.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the way he got down so low was brilliant from Eric Dyer, and it was just a great goal all round. I mean, Sonny with the beautiful cross, Dyer getting down low, putting it in the back of the net. And you know what? Eric Dyer told Japhet Tanganga to put him in his fantasy team, FPL team, but he didn't want to listen. And now I bet he wishes he did listen now, because Dyer got a good haul yesterday on FPL. And then that was half time, wasn't it? I thought that first half, we played. You were about to say something?
No, I'm just saying, right at the end of the half, didn't we? We had 2 really good chances. Son got in behind and dribbled past 2-3 players and blazed it over, and then Kane had one chance just literally on the stroke of half time, didn't he, which Bazunu was equal to. So it could have been 3 or 4-1 by half time.
100%. And with Kane and Son, I thought both of them actually had good games, especially Sonny. Sonny did everything pretty much apart from put the ball in the back of the net. Exactly. I mean, that was where you're going to mark him down, because he had 2 chances yesterday where Sonny usually puts those away, especially that one where he blazed it over. I mean, but apart from that, I mean, he was showing great energy, will, desire, crossed that ball for Eric Dyer that put on a plate for him. And I thought he was giving Southampton so many problems yesterday, Heung-min Son. I'm very happy with his performance. And on Harry Kane, I think that, a lot of people saying Harry Kane was our worst player on the pitch yesterday, which you could probably make an argument for it, but that does no means to say that he had a bad game yesterday, because I thought he was in the mix. First half, he was fairly quiet, but I thought he grew into it second half, and he was orchestrating things from the middle, dropping deep. His passing ability was on show, maybe not as good as it has been maybe in the past, but by his standards, you're probably saying that's a poor game, but in actual fact, it wasn't a poor game at all.
Right, look, I'm telling you right now, if that wasn't Harry Kane, but putting that in performance, that was like, I don't know, Callum Wilson or something, I reckon people give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
because it's Kane, because his standards are so high, it's like, okay, that was like only a 7 or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't as good.
Exactly.
But on another day, he laid one on a plate for Son late in the game, didn't he? Which Son just didn't get quite right. How many times was he playing Kulusevski through on that right-hand side time after time? I thought he was pretty good anyway. But yeah, I agree. He maybe, but I just thought the team performance was so strong that he didn't have to be the best player for us to have a really good performance, and that's a good sign. In terms of the third goal, that was all about Emerson, really. It was the own goal. But in terms of how the goal came around, he won the tackle deep in his own half. He then charges forward. He then pounces on, I think Kane tried to get the ball to him, and he pounces on a loose ball, charges into the opposition final third, lays it off to Højbjerg, who plays probably a kind of a poor ball to Son, kind of just behind him. Son makes the most of it, plays a nice through ball into Emerson, and then Emerson forces the own goal, although probably wasn't the best. You
could say forces. I think Salisu pretty much forced that own goal. That was terrible from him. I have to say, that was absolutely garbage from Salisu.
It wasn't one of those ones where he had no other option, or he was stretching. Or, the guy could have taken a touch. The guy could have taken
I don't know
the
what he's
touch and
doing. I don't know what he's
He
doing.
just got it completely wrong. He's left-footed. He tried to clear it with his left foot. It's one of those where you have to go with your right foot, otherwise you're risking miscuing it. It goes off his heel, I think, when clearing it, and it goes in the back of the net. I mean, he'll be really embarrassed by that own goal. It was one of those that's like good for a Christmas DVD. Like it's one of those own goals where it's so avoidable. Like there wasn't even anyone near him. He literally could have taken a touch and cleared it or anything, or just got away with his right foot. So we did get a bit of luck with it, but as you're saying, you make your own luck, and the way we broke for that attack was still pretty impressive, and Emerson was central to that, to be fair to him.
Emerson was absolutely brilliant. Had his hand in both goals, which we'll get into the fourth goal in a minute. But I thought Emerson, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling like his chemistry with Kulusevski is growing and growing. And
Everyone's chemistry with Kulusevski. You know, look, we always talk about Doherty's chemistry with Kulusevski. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's such a good link-up player.
I felt like both of them linked up so well yesterday together. And Emerson didn't put a foot wrong really defensively, maybe apart from the goal we conceded where he got beaten a bit too easily for the Southampton goal. But apart from that, I thought he made up for it straight away after that. Defensively, he was on point. Going forward is what I was most impressed about, because how many times last season did we say with Emerson, look, defensively he's good, but you know, going forward he lets us down more than not. And yesterday, 2 assists, constant threat, and I've been saying recently that Emerson is growing on me, and that performance yesterday just signed, sealed, and delivered that. And I'm happy with Emerson at the moment. I really am.
Yeah, I have to give him credit where credit's due. I thought he had a really strong showing yesterday. I thought he was really dominant down the right hand side. He gets in those positions so often. I did to be fair, I did think in the first half there were a couple of occasions where he could have got a cross in and he just took 1 or 2 extra touches, and that was a bit frustrating. But I think he changed that in the second half, and he was a bit more decisive in the final third. And for that 4th goal, I think he did really well to have the presence of mind to not just whip the ball in across the face of goal or floating across, but to realise that Kulusevski was in space. And if you got the pass right, all Kulusevski had to do was take 1 touch and bang, and we know that Kulusevski has that in him. So it was good that for Emerson, for someone who we've criticised his decision making in the final third, he definitely made the right decision for that 4th goal. And the whole day he was bombing it down the right hand side tirelessly.
But also, what I'm saying about Sessegnon, about Emerson, is that a lot of fans were saying last season, even we probably are guilty of saying it as well, that this guy just doesn't have it in him to be a wing back. He can't play this role, this, that. And yeah, you're right in what you're saying, that maybe his decision-making took too many touches in the first half. But that second half performance shows me that he can do it. He can do it. And all it needs is for a coach like Antonio Conte to get it out of him on a consistent basis. And I have no qualms that he can do that. I really believe that Emerson can be that wing-back that we want him to be. And he's like, how many times did we say last season that he's young, coming into the league, never played this role before? And he's growing week on week. This second half performance is miles better than what we were seeing of him last season. But, in the back end of last season as well, you got to remember that he started to perform well, and he was getting better and better at back end of last season as well. And the games where we saw him really thrive last season were the Man Cities and the Liverpool games, where you have to put in a much bigger defensive shift than you have to do going forward.
And he was brilliant.
And yesterday he improved going forward. So I think Emerson deserves all the props that's coming his way at the moment. Yeah. But I think it's time to get into Kulusevski.
Yeah, just one more thing about Emerson I would say is I agree he was brilliant. He's definitely growing into that role. But I still want to see more in terms of how Sessegnon was getting to that back post yesterday and getting those goal scoring positions. And to be fair, he nearly got on the end of one when Sessegnon floated in across in the first half, and he was about to get on the end of it before a little defensive challenge from Salisu. But I want to see more of him getting those goal scoring positions at the back post, because that's what Conte requires. But in terms of physically his suitability to the wing back role, I don't think that's ever been in question. He's physically he can run up and down that wing all day, all night, and getting those final third positions. And he is starting to now improve his decision making. And if he can really if he can really iron out his decision making, and a quality in the final third, he can be a top wing back. But it's all about whether he'll get to that stage. I still think the jury's out on that, but I do definitely think that we can see big improvements. And if he keeps improving in the way he is, following on from the back end of last season to now, I mean, there's no reason to get rid of him.
Absolutely. Completely agree. But look, let's get into Kulusevski. Let's start off with the fourth goal. That was just straight out the Kulusevski playbook, wasn't it? Left peg, bam, curling into the bottom left corner. And that's what you were calling on for him to see him do.
How many times was I saying last season, this guy has the ability to whip it into that far corner every single time?
Yeah.
He can do it. And we didn't see it until the Norwich game, when I was like, okay, now we've seen it once.
Now he's done it 2 Premier League games in a row.
Exactly. And this guy has so much quality. And I'm so happy that he's starting to bang in those goals as well that we know he can do. That is his speciality, whipping in those shots into the far corner with his left leg.
Such finesse. It was literally R1 and shoot. Curling shot into the bottom corner. It was so beautiful to see. It really was so beautiful to see. And it wasn't just that goal that we're absolutely mesmerised about. Exactly. That the one is what he deserved, what topped off his performance. But for that second half, he came out with a point to prove, with a man on a mission, literally. Southampton defence just couldn't get close to him. If they got close to him, he peeled away. If they were like backing off him a bit, he completely rinsed them for fun. I mean, he was absolutely unplayable yesterday. And when Kane and Son are not at their complete best, I mean, I think Son was good in terms of everything in front of goal. Kane probably could have put a better shift. But when those two are not on the top of their game and you have Kulusevski like that, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Kulusevski, man, he was astonishing yesterday. He was. That might have been his best performance in a Spurs shirt, and that's saying something because he's had some top performances already. It wasn't just his final third accuracy and decisiveness with the goal and an unbelievable assist, but also his just intricate first touches when the ball's in tight spaces, spinning away from defenders. His ability to, if they show him inside, he goes outside, and then he gets into the box, and then he nearly sets up Son for a goal in the second half as well with his right foot. The guy has everything. He has absolutely everything, and he's starting to show on week in, week out. There were question marks going into the season. He was so good after signing in January. Could he keep up that kind of trajectory? Because the standards he set were so high. Could he keep that up? Well, he's starting to answer that question already, even on the first day, because it was a scintillating performance from Dejan. He had absolutely everything to his game. It was such a joy to watch. Every time he gets the ball, it's like something's going to happen. But the thing about him is he has all those. He has brilliant physical ability to hold players off. He's got deceptively quick pace to get away from defenders as well. The amount of times you're seeing that now is time and time again when defenders are going the other way.
Just let me pause you there, for a second, talking about his deceptive pace. When he came to Spurs, what was the one thing everyone was saying? Oh, this guy's not quick enough. This guy's not quick enough. How he beats players for fun, for absolute fun, and for a player that's not quick, like bloody hell, what a good player you must be. Yeah,
and I kept saying when people were saying I was like, this guy ain't slow.
Yeah.
I kept saying he is quick. Trust me, this guy has pace, and he's starting to show it now. And it's also just about how the way he can get away from defenders while putting them off balance is something sensational. But it's not just that. It's his presence of mind in the final third as well. It's absolutely top notch.
Footballing brain.
Yeah, it was incredible. There was a one moment when he's in from a corner. Not only, first of all, there's two moments from corners actually. One of them where he whips in an unbelievable ball across the face of goal, which nearly lends in a goal from the outside when we played a short corner. There was another one where he beats a player on the edge of the box. He's looking for an intricate pass, and he plays this lovely through ball to Romero, who tries a backheel back to him, and nearly ended up a goal. And that was an unbelievable pass from Kulusevski. He has these creative sparks in him as well, and not only does he have those creative sparks, but he also has the accuracy and the decisiveness to pull it off as well. It's like when we were talking about Lucas Moura, how often he gets in those positions and then screws up the situations. He would pick the right option 2 times in every 10 situations. Lucas Moura, but Kulusevski picks the right option 8 times out of 10 or 9 times out of 10. That's how good he is in that final third.
And that's exactly what Ian Wright was saying on Match of the Day. I mean, when you give this guy time and space to make a delivery, he does not make mistakes. He does not make mistakes. And to have a player like that to add to Kane and Son in the front line for that front three, I mean, I don't I don't know if anyone has a front three as accomplished as Kane, Son, and Kulusevski at the moment.
I think it's the best in the league right now. I can't think of a front three right now that tops. I think it just has everything. It has everything you could ask for in an attacking trio. And I reckon as well, come the end, like if he's not already thought of Kulusevski, not only as one of the top young wingers in European football, but I reckon he's going to have a reputation by the end of the season as having one of the most lethal left foots in the league. I'm telling you right now. Obviously, you've got Salah there, but I'm telling you, this guy has a lethal left foot. And even though he's scored 6 goals, which is a pretty decent return since January, I don't think we've even seen half of what he can do with that left foot.
I completely agree.
And I think he has the capability of whipping those shots into the corner week in, week out. I'm telling you, this guy could easily break between 10 and 15 league goals this season.
Easy.
And I am all here for it. He is so exciting, and people underestimate him. And now, are we getting to the stage now where we're saying, like, if we weren't already there, where he's a much better signing than Diaz?
Yeah, I mean, I think what they've showed since they've come. Look,
I don't think it's a question of what they've shown. It's all about potential, I guess, if you're talking about Diaz.
When I'm talking about what they've shown, I mean, Diaz, I think, obviously gets a much higher praise just because he's at Liverpool, but he has played very well since joining, but he hasn't married that with his output yet, with the goals and assists. I think Diaz, for what he's shown in a Liverpool shirt, should be getting more goals and assists. And I think Kulusevski has done that already. And I think when you're comparing the two signings, especially as Diaz plays on the other side as well, I think Kulusevski is a much better signing for us.
Yeah, it's a blessing in disguise, I think, at this point, that we didn't get Diaz. As much as he's as good a player he is, Kulusevski has completely done exactly what we've needed, that creative role, but also contributing to the attack on that right-hand side and creating that lethal front three with Kane and Son. I think he's brilliant. I can't look, apart from Salah, right now, I mean, is there a better right winger in the league? And maybe you could argue Mahrez, but Mahrez is in and out of the team sometimes.
I would say right now, as of now, you'd probably put Salah and Mahrez ahead of him. But there's no other one. There's no one else that come close to him in between. When you look at Bukayo Saka, everyone likes to talk about Saka a lot and stuff like that. But Saka's a very good player in his own right. I'm not saying he's not, but he can't put in performances like that. He doesn't have everything to his game like Kulusevski does. He just doesn't. His
left foot is nowhere near as lethal as Kulusevski, even though I know he scored 11 goals last season. But none of those. But he doesn't have the quality in that left foot like Kulusevski does, just to whip it in consistently into that far corner. And I think Kulusevski is one of the most exciting players right now. Definitely in the Premier League and maybe even in Europe on that right hand side. And
not bad for a Juve flop, is it?
Yes, and they were still what was that Juve guy saying God bless Paratici for letting him signing him for Spurs because he couldn't beat a player, but wow, is he proving people wrong? And I'm telling you now, Juve must be kicking themselves.
Big up Gran Mbappe as well. Exactly. He sent us a tweet after the game.
We owe him a Kulusevski shirt.
We owe him a Kulusevski shirt.
You're probably right about that. I have to say, and also I want to give. I guess we've gone over Kulusevski. I want to give a mention to Bentancur as well, because he had a real top performance yesterday. I thought he was really sharp in the centre of midfield. I thought he was starting attacks at will, breaking up players he always does, and there was another really strong showing from him and Højbjerg yesterday. Yeah,
I think both of them put in really strong displays yesterday in the middle of the park, strong challenges. Højbjerg as well, in his own right, was starting attacks and stuff like that. He's the one that played the ball over to Sonny for that Dyer goal as well. He also laid another one on a plate for Sonny, I think, in the second half, where Sonny maybe should have done better from. So I think both of them put in really strong performances and made our midfield really hard to beat yesterday. So at the moment, you got to say the 11 that started yesterday all have the shirt, and the new signings have got to work their way into the team at the moment.
Damn right. I think that's exactly right. So I'm very excited about what this season could bring to us. I think with all the pre-season optimism to start the season like that as well, exactly how we would hoped. We didn't have a slow performance or a lucky win or anything. We completely blew them away, and that's exactly what we were looking for when coming into this season. And with all the hope and dreams that we have during this season, we couldn't have started any better. So I can't roll on next week. Honestly, it's a week to wait. It's going to be a long wait, because when we play like that, you just want to watch us every day. Literally,
and it's no Chelsea around the corner as well. Big game this weekend, and Do you reckon like you asked me the question? Was it a statement performance yesterday? And I don't think it was, because I think that we need to be doing that against all the teams of that kind of level that come to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But if we go to Stamford Bridge next weekend and win, is that a statement?
How you'd have to say so, especially considering that Chelsea beat us 3 times in a month. I think, wasn't it? Was it
Yeah.
3 times in a month last year? So definitely show how far we have come if we can go there and really take them to the sword.
Yeah.
If we can get a draw, that's still a good result as well, because going away to one of your rivals and not getting beat, it's still a positive result. But I wouldn't say it's a statement. But definitely, if we go there and win convincingly, then I think you got to say we could very much mean business this season. And with Chelsea the way they are at the moment, I know they've made some good signings, but it just all doesn't seem well at Chelsea right now for one reason or another. And they didn't look particularly impressive against Everton. And I think we've got a good chance of going there and getting something. So there's reason to be excited, and I think we're a team to be feared right now. Even if we
The rest of the Premier League are fearing us.
Exactly. Even if we don't go there and win, I think we're at a stage where I don't think teams are going to want to play us the way we work and the way we play. We're going to be very, very difficult to beat. And even last season when we had our troubles, except for maybe the Southampton game, the way to beat us was most of the time to frustrate us and stop us from playing, and it was still a very difficult job. So now it's a case of Spurs of a lot farther down the line with the process under Conte now. Everything seems slicker, faster, sharper. Everyone seems to know their roles even more than they did last season, and I just can't wait to see. And also, none of the new signings were even involved. So imagine when they get integrated as well. There are players like Longley, Bissouma, Richarlison, Spence, Perisic, who are all definitely candidates to break into that first team and be regulars for sure, and they weren't even involved pretty much until the last 5 minutes yesterday. So it couldn't be more exciting right now to be a Spurs fan. I just can't wait.
Absolutely. All right, so that is our match review from the 4-1 win against Southampton. So thank you everyone for joining for that.